Okay, this is going to be an intuitive video, meaning I'm going to try to do this in one take. There might be some distractions, and my fridge just turned on, so it starts out noisy. I don't know exactly what I'm going to say, but I know what I'm talking about. Ravenall BJ asked, nice name by the way, what is a what is Atlantian and Agarthan resonance? And I am happy to answer that here. I wasn't able to really answer it in the comments section. And it is, it's a controversial topic. It more, I guess, what the I just woke up. I have to get this video done before I go to work. But it's better this way, to do it in an authentic way where I don't know what I'm going to say. Because that way, if I do say anything inspirational and it catches you, just know that it was channeled specifically for you. So I rather do my videos this way, because anybody can think about it, Google search, think of something creative to say and move you, but it takes a little bit more talent, a little bit more humbleness, I guess you can say, to do it on the spot, to be real about it. So, resonance. Atlantean and Agarthan resonance. Okay, so rather than talk about the lost city of Atlantis or the inner world of Agartha, which is something that you can easily look up and get lost in the fantasy, go ahead and do that. I am going to explain this from the standpoint of a psychic medium who has had to shed away layers of awareness to get to this hidden deep truth that cannot be confirmed nor denied by the exterior world or anybody you may talk to. You talk to your Uncle Joey. Uncle Joey will tell you, hey, let's keep it real in, bud. Because there's lots of people that you need to connect with and talk about or talk to when it comes to becoming aware of facts that exist in the human consciousness, the human perceptual experience. The difference between facts existing there and facts existing in reality, as my refrigerator seems to get louder for some reason, is that it's in facts in reality require other people's opinions. And what you have to understand is once you get past all the veils, once you get past all the layers, you realize that all those people you cared, those opinions you cared about, they aren't actually their opinions. These opinions are part of the same resonant energy field treating us like puppets, you know? And to become sovereign is to shed away the layers and to regain part of your sovereignty on the uprise of this cyclical nature the universe embodies through resonance. Now, resonance, roughly, can be also described in many ways. It can be described as spirit. It can be described as God. It can be described, so resonance, it can be described as, the invisible eyes peering through the black holes, the many billions and trillions of black holes that are around you at every time. If you want to talk about like quantum entanglement, that's just a fancy way of looking at it. Because this resonance peers through the etheric, and it has an avenue in which it does so. And it does so in a way that defies our knowledge or our factual knowledge of physics, or all these ways of perceiving science and the factual physical world, physical reality. All these things are being reconfigured and dispelled and changed because now we have new information. I'm not a scientist. I'm not here to explain that to you. I'm here to explain to you that there are layers of the human consciousness, the human perception in what it sees. So, Atlantean, Garthan, as well as Lumerian, and many other type of resonances are actually fields of consciousness. So, fields of consciousness can be perceived as the memory or the pulsating echo, the memory of the earth. And we'll kind of stop right there in where it comes from, because it actually has more layers than that. It comes from, obviously, the earth came from somewhere, so the resonance comes from somewhere. The memory comes from somewhere. But if you want to look at it this way, Atlantean as well as Agarthan energy fields are the memories pulsating from our experience, the human experience, the earth experience. And so you can look up, obviously, the story of Atlantis and the story of Agartha. And so what you want to do, peeling back the first layer, let's peel back the first layer as I take a sip of my coffee. So you learn about Atlantis, you learn about Agartha through story, through allegory, and that's the perfect place to put it. Is leave it there in allegory, because all the facts and the story are just going to get confused with the actual purpose the energy field serves in your conscious awareness as you step in to this new stage, these new layers, revealing what exactly Atlantis and Agarthan energy field is, what exactly the resonance actually is trying to show you and teach you, which it is trying to reach out and show everyone. Okay, it is not specific to just some people, but there are messengers, such as myself, who didn't know anything about Atlantis or Agartha, and then started receiving, passing through these layers and receiving information and having to figure it all out. And so we'll get to that. You'll have to take this all with a grain of salt, because it's not something I can convince you. Just don't work. I don't work in that energy field. I am here simply to confirm what you may already know or what you will eventually find out. And you can go ahead and just put a pin in this and come back to it and be like, okay, he was right. I discovered it myself. Nobody could teach me how to discover it. I figured it out. But this is going to help. So you learn about it. You hear about it through your ears. Notice how my hands are kind of like satellites, and when you combine them with the ears, it sort of looks like I am a Wi-Fi hub, right? I could receive a signal. It's funny when you do that, when you cup your ear like that and you move your head around, you hear these different sounds, this different frequency you may not have been privy to unless you did that. Okay, combining your palm and your ear just so happens to synchronize with enhanced perception, audio perception. So that is how your awareness in general work. And so through meditation and clarification of your own energies, learning what your chakras and your energy fields are, and learning what shadow work is, you clarify, transmuting, and transcending past different levels of awareness. And so, starting at this first layer where you just hear and you gain the fantasy imagination of it all, you receive the message, and it seems kind of cool, like, oh wow, lost city of Atlantis, it might be someplace in location on earth, who knows, speculation. The mind wants to prove it. Okay, slow down, slow down. People have been trying to do that for a millennia. Okay, so that's not the avenue where you're going to actually ever find anything. That does not cancel out the moment that we discover it as a collective, and that then it comes forward into physical reality, and we have the facts. Just like the pyramids, we're learning new things. As I'm putting this video out in the past weeks, we are learning new things about the pyramids. The iceberg cap with the entire world underneath it to discover. It's just the tip of the iceberg, the pyramid. So what they're going to discover underneath that, go check that out and learn what they're learning. It's going to have its many layers of truth and shedding and revealing. Okay. And there's always going to be gatekeepers. Understand that. There are gatekeepers in the etheric, or at least there are invisible gatekeepers everywhere you cannot see. And they are not preventing you from receiving all this many, many layers of information. They're just simply preventing you when you're not ready. So when you're ready, you receive. So you hear about it, you learn about it. Okay, well, the distraction is getting you to try to figure it out in physical reality and prove it, and you'll be deceived, and that's okay. Because the more information you learn about what we know collectively of Atlantis and Agartha and in Lemuria and all the different residences is valuable, because once you pass through the threshold and you shed the layers, all of a sudden you don't need to think about that information. It's a kind of a trust thing, like, oh, okay, wow, I had to learn all this sort of, I don't want to call it nonsense, but all this evidence or evident all these evident principles that you can't prove in physical reality, only to make it a completely different thing once it gets into here. Okay, so that's the goal you're headed for, is a complete shift in the mind frame of what Atlantis and Agartha is in all these resonances. But learn about them first, and then you might hear about some person talking about being connected to guides of Atlantis and being shown visions of Atlantis and Agartha. Now, you can do whatever you want with that information when you hear it. You can take it with a grain of salt, or you can be like a lot of people and get really into it and be like, oh, this person is also like me, where I've experienced so on and so forth. Okay. That's that sort of etheric mob mentality. But no truth is actually singular in reality, which you have to understand. So that resistance that your mind and your heart try, kind of like battle through when you try to envision where reality actually is in this imagination that we've created as a collective, where it is, your functions are going to want to attach to something. Okay, and that's where you need to also, that's another layer of the deception. You got to let that go, because no truth is singular. Okay, the reality of the resonant field and the actual people are real, but they don't exist anymore. This is long since past. It is merely a memory and an echo that belongs to us. We own it. And amnesia is part of the human experience. Okay? Some of us experience it in physical reality where we can't remember things in our life. I've actually had that. But we all experience it as a collective, because there are memories that are there, and the layers just need to be shed. The veils, the onion layers need to be pulled away so that you can see. And the only way to do that is through the internal work, and realize that everything that the finger is pointing to on the outside world, Atlantis, Agartha, and the Lost City, and la la la, that is all just to get you to look at the finger. But the truth is you're supposed to look at what the finger's pointing at. Okay? And in your perceptual reality, the only place that finger can point to is you and what you are aware of. What you are aware of has many layers that comes from the bottom, your seat, your metaphorical etheric seat, and comes up into your higher realms. And all of that needs clarification. It all needs to be transmuted. It all needs to be worked out like a muscle and brought into truth. Okay? And so to do that, you need to go on a shamanic journey, a spiritual awakening. You need to detox. You need to meditate. You need to stop believing what everybody says and let go of all the things that create fear and understand that the media is just trying to feed you nonsense. It's just trying to feed you fear and all those feelings you get of, oh, but I need to do and I need a ha ha and a ba 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 ba. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. All that emotion, that energy, the but if I don't, if I take my eye off and if I let go of logic for a second, you can do that all the live long day. It's only gonna build more stress. You want to know deeper secrets, you need to let go of all this jargon that they use and all this fear mongering that they use to keep you seated, to keep you blind. So it has many, many layers, okay? But ultimately, Atlantis and Agartha are allegory for the human experience, for shedding those layers and becoming aware of what our time and place is trying to teach us here in the now. All of our current events and how they are related to the fall of Atlantis and the rising of Agarthan energy. There's Agarthan inner world energy, which is more feminine, and there is surface energy, the explorer that goes out and looks for the feminine to alchemize the energy. It's all the same. It really does interpret into all the same, but Atlantis, roughly speaking, is the allegory for the fall of man, having to go into the earth because of cataclysm brought on by the human psyche, and missing the point, which is pretty much the point of this video and the point of the point of explaining the resonance, is that we're trying to shed the layers and regain memory and grasp the actual point that the finger is pointing at, rather than trying to identify what is that thing that is pointing. What is that thing that we are all seeing? It's just the finger. Now, when I first okay, so now we're talking about the deep psychic layers. Okay. So we know what Atlantis and Agartha is after doing some research and understanding that the physicality is missing the point unless you get to understand the message behind it. But the consciousness of the resonant fields are alive and conscious, aware and intelligent and very patient. So they're not going to force themselves on you, but they act in mirror. So that's what everything is in life. Everything is a mirror. My word speaks to you, it mirrors in your consciousness and will resonate or not if you aren't ready. So as resonance comes into your gnosis in whatever way it presents itself, it could present itself in the form of paranormal activity. That is one layer of resonance. And so as this resonance, where it is what it is. It is not what you think it is or what you see it is. So if you see resonance and it spooks the hell out of you and you think it's some kind of demon, that's actually just one of your layers. Sorry to tell you. And before I keep going, I have to let you know that what I talk about on this channel is in layers. I'm talking to many different people who perceive life in different layers. I'm talking to the grounded and the practical who are not ready to reach further. And I am talking to the higher exalted who are just happen to be in the audience. They don't need this information. They already know it. Um, and so leave a like if you can, or start a different account if you're trying to be in the shadows. Start a different account for me and leave a like and subscribe to this channel. I know. See, I don't have that many subscribers, but I got a lot of viewers because as you get up higher up there, it's not about the numbers game. It's about what resonates. It's about knowing that there are people waking up and speaking the truth and speaking their own take on the subject. Anyway, so what you're going to get from this channel are many, many layers of that revealing of that onion. And if you don't understand it, that's okay. Be patient with yourself. It's just not time. It's just not time to understand it. So they understand that the resonant field understands, and when the resonant comes into being to or being it comes into contact with your perception, your human perception, it's kind of like testing the layers. So when I was young, I used to experience a lot of paranormal activity, and I went through those layers. When I got older, um, the layers took on a different dimension where it seemed like this thing was following me around and haunting me, and I was very much aware of it. And it would do it would do like paces around the couch at night while I was sleeping. I could hear it doing, footsteps around the couch, and running away from the door as I would come home. And I even got a picture of it. Blah blah blah. Just assuming it was paranormal activity, it was a ghost, and other people experienced it also. So I wasn't crazy, but it was ultimately something I just had to let go of because I managed to gain control of it when one morning I banished it. And I sat up, and this energy came about me, and in my mind and in my heart I wanted this thing gone. And if you want to really like make a ghost, just be very disrespectful to it and it'll go away. But later in life you will realize that that it had to happen that way, but ultimately you may regret doing that, because as the layers shed later on in life, you realize that these resonances are there with you all the time, and they are just reflections. And so if you are, let's just call it dirty mind, if you are dirty mind and you have not gone through the internal work, it will reflect back whatever paranormal ghost that makes you fear. It has many, many, many layers. It just needs to be cleaned out. And so once it's cleaned out, it'll come back and it'll present itself to you, and it'll be in a different layer, and you'll have to go through that psychologically and figure out what exactly is this thing. And you will think it's something else, but it's not. It is the same thing. It just knows that you're not ready. And as you go higher and higher, you realize that this is you. And you can call it whatever you want. You can call it a ghost. You can call it your energy. You can call it your resonant energy field. You can call it your guardian angel. You can call it God. You can call it you, your higher self, your higher awareness, the future you. You can call it anything you want. It doesn't take away from the fact is that we will all experience it in layers. And it's going to be with you. It's going to be with you your entire experience, regardless if you're aware of it or not. And in one of my videos, I talked about energy placements, and these energies, they stand around you, like kind of like literally. And it's better to see them that way, to think of them that way, because if you try to get pinpoint, oh, it's actually here, or it's actually doing this, or it's actually its composition is this or that, and plasma, blue, 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 then you're just trying to create a singularity out of it. So, loosely put, my resonant army is behind me. They are standing with me. I have I have my Agarthan resonance, which is a feminine energy. This is how I present it. It like I said, there is no singularity, but if we have to relate on something, I'm going to tell you one of the layers. I'm going to explain one of the layers. So one of the layers, I'll explain the layers. One of the layers of all these resonance. So I have one to behind me to my far left. That is Sadgartha. That is a Garthan feminine resonance. This is deep earth Agarthan resonance, very powerful goddess like energy. That is not that okay, so in a past life, my past self, another resonance who is attached to me on this timeline, came into gnosis of Sadgartha during this very very harsh excursion with an abusive priest. So it was a young boy or a young man who was like an orphan, and he was being brutally abused by this priest, and he was defending himself and dispatched the monk or the priest or whoever this was, this evil person. And that's when Sedgartha appeared to this person, and that is the vision I had seen when I first came into the realization of Sadgartha energy. Okay. And so next to Sadgartha is Angel. Angel is my guardian angel who is made of all my resonance, and your guardian angel is made of all your resonance and pretty much your higher self and your inner child. Okay, this is all just something you're going to have to discover, and try to figure out what layers of singularity need to be relieved first, and I'm just explaining the layers. So angel is a contract spirit. So angel serves a purpose, and one of the purpose is in the content creation in this day and age where people are speaking out and being logical about the things you cannot see in this world, the spiritual side of things. So Angel, you get a lot of the messages on this channel from Angel, and I even gave Angel her own channel, which I'm just not there yet. So Angel, being my guardian angel, is also my sister, where I have other videos where I kind of explain this, but like I said, it's many, many layers. So don't, take it at face, just take it with a grain of salt. It's got many layers to it. So sister energy, my counterpart in the etheric, um, we're talking Pisces sun Aquarian moon energy, and this is very specific to my personal magic, my mirroring magic. So okay, so we have those two resonance, and then behind me holding me down is the angel holding me down. It's pretty much like an archon. It's like it's hard to explain. It's like you don't want to think of it as a bad person or a bad thing. It's you have to be here in this world, and there's something anchoring you here. Otherwise, you'd float away, and your body would be no more. Um, and so there is an angel holding you down, and they are standing behind you, holding you down. There's not really much to say about that. You'll have to just really discover that and what it means to you. I don't necessarily acknowledge nor talk to this angel, or try to communicate with it. It just is there, and I know it's there. because I can sense it. And then to my right behind me is Benny. Oh, by the way, I give all, obviously I give all my residents that I do communicate with, I give them short names. There's Sadie, Angel, and then there's Benny or Benha. Benha behind me to my right is masculine uh Agarthan surface resonance. And so this resonance goes back 35,000 plus years to uh when Agarthan resonance went on the search for conscious awareness. Basically, it's just this constant search to alchemicalize energy that has already alchemicalized, but we are living in the echo. We're living in the dream. So we're playing out this dream. It's many, many layers. So Agarthan surface resonance, Benny, came onto the scene and inspired, you know, ancient man. And ancient man basically started worshiping, when ancient man started worshiping resonance and creating deities and gods and stuff. And um and so resonance has a tendency of recycling itself back through conscious awareness, through the many layers. It recycles back through. And that is where my explanation of this is going to have to stop. Because, like I said, it has many, many layers. And the more facts I dish out, I'm just creating singularities in your mind. And to undo that is to let you understand that no truth is singular. So what I'm telling you is and is not your truth. Okay? Your truth has a different composition, or maybe it has a very similar composition to the resonance. But you'll have to discover that yourself, because that is how life works. Okay? And always remember that whenever you're out there in the world and you're searching, just remember, on another realm, in another time, in a more realistic setting, far from this place, you've figured that all out. And you are well on your way to helping the next in line understand what you have come to know. My name's Ryan. You've been watching The Watcher's Alchemy. I'll catch you later.